7:05, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here. Joining us right now, we are on a time crunch. Senator Marsha Blackburn is joining us. Always appreciate having you on. All right, Senator, I'm going to get right to the questions. You received the classified briefing on Trump's attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that President Trump acted within the authority that he is given. And this was a targeted strike. It was very successful. You had the B-2s that carried the 14 bombs in, the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs. The nuclear program for Iran is, in essence, obliterated. And this is something that is going to help bring stability to the Middle East.
I think part of, as I watch all of this take place, I played earlier audio from several Democrats and then audio from Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, Republicans. And the Republicans, such as yourself, all say that this was a very successful attack. I always find it interesting. The Democrats will just come out and they'll say anything they can against Donald Trump. And they're trying to really, it seems to me, like dismiss what has been accomplished here. That's got to be frustrating for someone who sat in literally the same meeting with the Democrats, and the two sides come out with completely different narratives.
And the meeting and the briefing was complete. General Kane, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, they gave such a full understanding, the lead up to it, and then how it was carried out, and then what they've been able to learn after the attack. So they were very forthcoming with that information. It was a successful attack. President Trump was given the appropriate and complete information. He made a decision as the commander-in-chief. Our brilliant military executed this, and the world is a safer place because of it.
How confident are you that Iran, lacking an actual peace deal, how confident are you in the future of Iran and this ceasefire continuing?
Iran would have to restart a nuclear program. They have lost many of their leaders. They have lost their nuclear scientists. And what we do know is that the ceasefire is holding, and it would be a good thing for Iran to give up this death to Israel, death to America, and come to the table. I don't know if they are going to do that, but what I do know is this: their nuclear program has been obliterated.
The search is on, and this is a really interesting part of this story. The search is on for whoever leaked this low-level, low-confidence report. Trump administration saying it is illegal, which it is, to leak such things. Many Republicans want charges brought once they find that person. What do you think?
And they should do that. Whomever is leaking should be held responsible to the full extent of the law. I fully believe that. And the leaks need to stop. It is difficult to do your work, whether it is in the House or the Senate or the administration, if you've got somebody that is going to leak everything that is done, everything that is said, and you cannot work with any kind of shield of integrity around the process of the people that are there to support you. So, yes, indeed, they will figure out who did this, and then that person will be held responsible under the law.
We still have the big debate, of course, going on here in Tennessee with illegal immigration, ICE agents, and all of that ongoing conversation. You went on a ride-along recently, I guess, here in Nashville. How did that go?
It was so insightful to spend some time with the entire ICE team there in Nashville and to visit with them, to hear firsthand what they are facing, and then to get in the truck and go do a ride-along and see the process that they use to surveil and what they're going through. You know, Dan, they're working about 75 hours a week, each and every one of them. And they are getting criminal aliens off the streets. And that is something that is an imperative, making our community safer. The actions of the mayor's office and the mayor have made our community less safe. They've been siding with criminal illegal aliens. Since the work began in Nashville in May, they have apprehended 554 criminal illegal aliens, and these are individuals that have been moved to deportation. I do have two pieces of legislation working their way through. Working with the White House, we've got the Remove Act that would expedite the removal of these illegal aliens, and it would move the time period from 90 days post-apprehension to 15 days to remove them from the country. The other is protecting law enforcement officers from doxing, and it would put law enforcement officers who are out doing their job on that protected list. Right now they have to be undercover agents to be protected from doxing, and we're adding law enforcement officers. So both of those are making their way through Judiciary Committee right now, and we look forward to getting those through the Senate, through the House, and to the President's desk.
Love it. All right, real quick, the debate continues on the big, beautiful bill. The Senate parliamentarian, we're talking about this earlier, has been taking provisions out left and right, provisions, as you know, that were critical to find the savings Republicans need to make this thing work. How bad is it for the bill, the actions by the Senate parliamentarian? It's clearly making this more difficult.
We are working on workarounds on that, and we also filed a bill yesterday to make certain that the Senate parliamentarian is limited to a 6-year term. We don't need, this parliamentarian was appointed by Harry Reid when he was in the Senate. And so we are trying to change that. The parliamentarian is a staffer with an opinion. And there are a lot of people that have opinions. But here's what we know about the big, beautiful bill. It is the largest tax cut in U.S. history. The average Tennessee family will save about $2,600 in taxes every year because of this bill. We also know that you will see an increase in wages from this bill. And for the first time, we will get some of this mandatory spending capped, reduced, and in addition to this reconciliation bill, we are doing the DOGE cuts, which help us cut further into the baseline. So the largest tax cut in American history, the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and my legislation, no tax on Social Security. All of that is going to be included in this bill. We need to get it finished up into the president's desk because it is the foundation for the Trump agenda.
Do you think any predictions you're going to get there by July 4th?
Yes, we will.
All right, Senator Marsha Blackburn, I appreciate you joining us here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN. Got her out by 7:15, Joan.
You did great, Dan.
I got 19 text messages from the Blackburn people. She's got to be out by 7:15.
Is that the exact number? Is that a real thing, or are you exaggerating?
No, it's a real thing. No, not 19. But
no, you're counting them right now.
That's how I take it, though. You know how I take it when she's got to be out by 7:15. Okay. So...
But yet no one believes you. Like, are you sure he's got it?
Mandis is a long question asker. There's no way that he's going to be able to get her out by 7:15. You give me a deadline, man. I'm right there on it. So
you got to check how many throat coats he's got before he gets started.
No, she's great. And I don't know. I like the answers. And I'm telling you what, I'm not sold on the big, beautiful bill. I know there's a lot in it for Americans. I know that.
There's also a lot not in it for Americans.
Yes, there is, and it's my. You know what the problem is? Everybody's got an opinion, and they all sound really smart. So, I get what Senator Hagerty told me earlier this week, what Senator Blackburn told me just now, which is okay. So, what's going to happen is you cut the taxes on everybody, and I've been saying this for a long time. You cut the taxes on everybody, then they're going to have more money to spend. They're going to, and then what that means is we're going to have a lot more income via sales tax and so forth. And so the CBO, they don't take that into consideration. They only look at the fact that as they see it, it is going to be less money coming in. But when you look at the economy in its entirety, then yeah, it makes sense. And they saw that in the first Trump administration. So we'll have to see what happens. I think most people right now, and I've seen polling on this, I think most people are for the passage of the big, beautiful bill because I think most people are worried about their own debt and not necessarily the debt of the country as a whole. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, very good. Joe needs to be out by 7:15.
Honest question. Do you think the reason you don't like the Big Beautiful Bill is because also the name Big Beautiful Bill doesn't exactly help it either?
No, I think it's a great name. It's very Trumpian.
Well, it just,
you know what I mean?
I think you keep hearing it over and over and over again.
No, I
Really?
think it's fine.
Okay.
Was it Haggerty that called it the Great Big Beautiful Bill, or was it somebody else? I interview so many people, but somebody I interviewed called it a great. It's Desjardins. I think it was Desjardins, the congressman. But somebody dubbed it the Great Big Beautiful Bill, and
just adding more and more to it.
Big. It is big. Anyway, time to check the roads on WTN. 7:16, Nashville's Morning News. As far as your weather goes, today, scattered thunderstorms, rain possible, a high of 90 degrees. Saturday, high near 90, scattered thunderstorms as well. And on Sunday, we've got highs, again, near 90, rain and scattered thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I think they ought to throw the book at whoever the leaker is, man. And here's the crazy thing. Whoever is leaking and leaked that document, you know that it was done maliciously. That's the thing that, to me, you really got to pay attention to. Why? Can I ask this question? Why is it all the stuff that is, when it's Trump in office, right? Why is it all the leaks are always negative to Donald Trump? Has anybody ever thought about it that way?
Oh, you know.
It's always
You know
against Trump, Joan, right?
Yeah. Yes. And, they've got to find this person, unlike that they didn't find who left the cocaine behind in the White House. They need to find these people and hold them responsible.
Well, they really do. And we'll have to see, ultimately, they never did figure out that cocaine.
Nope.
It's Hunter's cocaine. I know, in my heart of hearts, I know that it was Hunter's cocaine. And that thing, that whole cocaine in the White House story, that, came and went so incredibly quickly.
Yes, it did.
It's like
Yes, it did.
nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody at all.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, very good. Do you like
And
her
they've
answer on
also
the
gotta
parliamentarian?
They also have to get to the bottom of the Supreme Court leak, which they didn't get to the bottom of that either. And that's one of those, transparent things about the Trump administration that you really hope they find the leakers and they punish them.
I just wonder.
It's got to end.
I just wonder if there really is an effort to find these folks. I believe in this current administration, there is an effort to find them. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if during the Biden administration, if there was such an effort made. And there's a lot of Supreme Court cases that are supposed to be announced at some point today, right?
Yes. It's a big one today.
It's a big one today. All right, very good. Thank you, Joan. It is 7:18. By the way, speaking about whomever leaked that day one low-level Department of Defense intelligence report, CNN, New York Times, everybody was excited about that, of course, as you know. Caroline Leavitt, she was holding the White House press briefing yesterday.
Leaking top secret classified intelligence is a crime, and people need to be held accountable for that crime.
Do you think, I wonder and I made this point earlier, where you've got a lot of people within the intelligence agencies, within the Department of Defense, who are anti-Trump to the core. They are anti-Pete Hegseth to the core. Do you know what I love about this whole story with the Iranian strikes on their nuclear capabilities? One of the things that I love about this is that you heard all these people, you heard all these reports from the mainstream media about how there were all these folks within the Department of Defense, the intelligence agencies, and so forth, and they were worried about Pete Hegseth's competence. Look how incredible this attack, this was, the attack on their nuclear abilities. I mean, this was so incredible. And obviously, the military, the Joint Chiefs. I mean, everybody had a hand in this. But I love that you had all these people saying, oh, Pete Hegseth, he can't even handle the technology, right? Remember when he was using, what was it, to chat, whatever it was? Remember that whole thing way back when?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if is anybody really questioning the competency of Pete Hegseth now?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Here's more of Caroline Levitt.
This administration wants to ensure that classified intelligence is not ending up in irresponsible hands, and that people who have the privilege of viewing this top secret classified information are being responsible with it. And unfortunately, clearly, someone who had their hands on this, and it was a very few people, few number of people in our government who saw this report, that person was irresponsible with it, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to strengthen that process to protect our national security and protect the American public.
She's right. She's absolutely right. So we'll see who it is. I believe that it is somebody there within the defense and intelligence agencies. Obviously, they're maybe looking at somebody within Congress as well. So we'll have to see where that story goes. It is something that we'll continue to cover. It is 7:21 for a Friday. On Super Talk, Joan was coming up in the news at 7:30.
Coming up here, we are on Supreme Court watch this morning, and we'll tell you which cases we're focused on watching out for. Today should be the dump day for all the remaining decisions. All that coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So one of my faves, Joan, Jonathan Turley.
Yes.
Is commenting now on Hunter Biden. So we all know that Hunter is, he's had need for a lot of lawyers because he is Hunter Biden. Jonathan Turley is now saying that Hunter Biden is being sued for unpaid legal fees by Winston and Strawn, who, if you don't know, they're a big-time law firm. And so Jonathan Turley says with his father out of power and influence peddling no longer an option, bills are coming due for Hunter Biden. And so now what he is doing is you've got all of these lawsuits that he had filed. Well, now he's dropping them because, of course, he was using the lawsuits to target his critics. But now he's got all of these unpaid legal fees, and he doesn't have the money to pay him. He's got no daddy to influence to peddle the influence. So he doesn't have daddy anymore, and nobody wants his piece of trash paintings. So, and what do you do if you're Hunter Biden? I mean, I don't even know what you do.
Is he even working? Does he have a job?
I don't know. See, here's the thing. Because if you're Hunter Biden, you could, because he's been known to be on boards and that kind of thing. Well, the problem that he's got is that the reason why these folks would put him on the board of whatever it may be is because he would have access to, obviously, Joe. Well, Joe's over. I mean, Joe is, not only is Joe Biden never coming back, but the other problem is that Joe Biden has been a monumental train wreck as a president of the United States. And so I would also say that with all of the investigations and the auto pen and all of that swirling around with Joe Biden, I think the Biden name is just mud. Yeah. Like, don't you think that the Biden name is just, I mean, it's tarnished beyond belief?
Yeah. I mean, you and I think it is, but I don't know if that applies for everybody.
No, it does. Everybody agrees with us, Joan.
Okay. Got you.
Well, all right, let me put it another way. In the world of politics and in the world of Hunter Biden, I believe that the Biden name is mud. And you know what's kind of funny too? Joe Biden, what he would always say, "My word is a Biden." Remember that?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
how ironic that was?
Yeah.
Oh, I got my word is a Biden, and it's like, dude, you've been lying for years. And so now the family is just, in my opinion, politically, has been completely and utterly destroyed. As a matter of fact, they're hauling people in for an investigation. Are they bringing in Jill? I think I saw that they're bringing in Jill Biden to testify.
Oh, Jill?
about, she's got to take time off from her doctor duties, but she's got to, I think they're going to bring her in to testify about the use of the auto pen and the big cover-up. Saw
that it was her, her work husband that they're bringing in, but I don't know about her.
I thought I saw. Maybe somebody can Google it for me or grok it for me.
I'm going to grok it right now.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that I saw that they were trying to bring in Jill Biden. So I don't know. I mean, she's got a lot of questions to answer. I don't think that she will. I think they'll all plead the fifth. I mean, that's what I think. I don't know. I've been so busy with Iran and all the other things. I haven't really been following that. As a matter of fact, I forget what we were saying, but we mentioned something about hearings and so forth. And most people agree that hearings in Washington, D.C., they don't really do anything.
So Grok says that there's no scheduled interview for former First Lady Jill Biden, specifically for the use of auto pen or whatever.
All right.
I mean, she's mentioned a lot, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It is her husband.
Well, then they should pull her in and get her to testify. Why wouldn't they? Do you know what? I don't know. I don't even know who's doing it, if it's James Comer. But any investigation that does not include Jill Biden is not an investigation. Then what people say about these investigations are what people say, which is it's all just a dog and pony show. If somehow a deal has been cut so that Jill Biden is not called in to testify, well, then it's just a dog and pony show. Now, if she's going to plead the fifth or whatever, then that's an entirely different story. But, I mean, they do need to talk to her either way because it was obvious to the American people what the hell happened in the White House over the last 4 years and the greatest political cover-up in, I would say, in American history. Zohran Mamdani, of course, everybody... Zohran. It's so hard to say. Zorhan. It's not it's Zoran.
Zoran.
So just Zoran.
Yeah.
All right. So Zohran Mamdani. We are getting to know more and more about this guy, and there's an audio bite here that I'm going to play for you, where he's talking about violence and about how violence is, and this is a quote. I'm going to play you the audio. Violence is an artificial construct.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence at the highest degree.
So, I mean, this guy, I think part of what is going on, and I'm going to get into this after the traffic, part of what's going on is you have the Democrats who are completely divided on how to handle the primary win of Zohran Mamdani. Because here's a guy who is a flaming, I mean, he calls himself a Democrat, socialist, whatever, but he's a flaming socialist or communist, whatever it is that you want. He just lacks common sense. I mean, we can put all of these political designations on him, but the reality is that he's just spewing complete and utter BS, and none of it makes any sense. Like, for example, this violence is an artificial construct. I would have to ask old Zoran a question. Would he, if violence is an artificial construct, then I've got some challenges for the Democrat primary winner for the city of New York. I've got some challenges for old Zohran Mamdani. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, it's going to be high around 90, maybe 92, 93. Scattered thunderstorms, rain possible as well. Saturday and Sunday, highs around 90 as well. Thunderstorms and rain possible both days. So if violence is an artificial construct, and by the way, you heard him say that, it's the police and the district attorneys that are the ones that are really committing the violence in New York. So I would like to ask Zohran Mamdani, would you go down into the subways of New York and just spend the entire day standing right there on the ledge of the subway? Because we've seen, of course, as you know, over the last several years, a spate of people being pushed in front of oncoming subway trains. So would he do that? Because if he's willing to do that because, violence is an artificial construct, okay, maybe I take him a little bit more seriously, but I just think that he either one is incredibly naive or he's trying to gaslight the people of New York, and clearly it's working. What about the knockout game? Remember the knockout game? We talked about all of this earlier. The knockout game, it's still a thing in New York. That's not an artificial construct. That's a real thing as well. But I love how what he's doing is he's blowing off the violence of New York. And he's saying, well, the district attorneys and the cops, they're all just really, really violent. Well, no, they're the ones that are actually trying to stop the violence. And, of course, I love how all of these people are applauding, too. I mean, it's almost, do you know what it's starting to feel like with Zoran Mamdani? It's starting to feel like a cult of personality.
I think it means that we are ready in the most expensive city in the United States to have 5 boroughs that New Yorkers can actually afford. And this entire race was about the question of affordability. And ultimately, I have run a campaign that speaks about the tools that city government actually has to deliver that affordability in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the world. And it's time that we have a mayoral administration that follows through and actually delivers that.
Right. And so, it sounds reasonable because in New York, people cannot afford to live. A lot of them cannot afford to live. And so he's saying, let's, make it so they can. But the way to do that is not with giving stuff away. It is not with socialism or city-controlled stores or defunding the police or rent control. It's not. And so now you've got the entire Democrat Party, and, they are calling his win in New York a political earthquake. Jerry Nadler and Bernie Sanders, not shocking, have both said that they are excited for his win. Do you know who else was really excited about this, by the way? Justin Jones. Now, I don't want to bury the lead here. You know who's gotten involved in all this? Andy Ogles. Andy Ogles he posted on the socials, he wants him denaturalized and deported. And so now Justin Jones is going after Andy Ogles on the socials. Here's that part of the story. Congressman Andy Ogles wants him deported. Republican Representative Andy Ogles of the 5th has called for New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani to be denaturalized and deported. Now, we spoke about this earlier, Joan. Is denaturalizing somebody, is that a thing? Can you take away somebody's naturalization?
Let's ask Grok, shall we?
Just so you know, he was born in Uganda to Indian parents, and he has lived in New York since the age of 7. He became a U.S. citizen in 2018. On Thursday, Ogles called Mamdani Little Muhammad in a post to X, adding that the mayoral hopeful is an anti-Semitic, true, socialist, true, communist, true, who will destroy the great city of New York. I'm going to give a half-truth on that because I don't believe that New York is a great city anymore at this point. Anyway, Ogles says that Mamdani needs to be deported, he says, in really, really big letters, all caps, adding, which is why I am calling for him to be subject to denaturalization proceedings. The Tennessee lawmaker attached photos of a letter he sent to Attorney General Pam Bondi requesting that the Department of Justice investigate whether Mamdani should be denaturalized on the grounds that he may have procured U.S. citizenship through willful misrepresentation or concealment of material support for terrorism.
All right. Do you want to hear about the process here?
Sure.
So you can be denaturalized, but there have to be primary reasons, like serious primary reasons. And one of them is fraud or misrepresentation if they provided false information or concealed material facts or lied during their naturalization process. If they're a member of a subversive group, Ooh, like the communist or terrorist organizations.
Right.
Interesting. If they refuse to testify before Congress or if they have a dishonorable military discharge. And the consequences, if somebody is denaturalized, means that their status reverts to their previous immigration status and they would face deportation.
All right. So let them go back to Uganda. I don't
I hear
think
it's
they
nice
will.
this time of year.
I don't know if Uganda's nice any time of year, but I've never been there in all fairness. So I don't know. The whole thing seems ridiculous. By the way, John Fetterman, of course, everybody's buddy John Fetterman, who he's become, oddly enough, a friend of Donald Trump. John Fetterman has said that this guy, Mamdani's primary win, really what it is it's like Christmas in July for the Republican Party. Now, the reason for that, the reason he says that is because of the fact that this guy makes Republicans look even better. And I totally do understand that. I mean, that does make all the sense in the world. And that's why you have all of these Democrats, Chuck Schumer, I believe, is one, and others, who don't really know how to handle this. Because the guy truly, I mean, you look at some of the things that he wants to do, like, for example, defunding the police. You know, defunding the police after the back in, what was his name? George Floyd. Back when George Floyd died, you had all these people, defund the police, defund the police. That went over like a fart in church all across America. You had all of these people that are, protesting, defund the police, defund the police. Nobody wanted to defund the police. And when they did defund the police, guess what happened? Those communities ended up riddled with crime even more. And so Democrats are like running away from this guy. Long Island representative, he's a Republican, Nick LaLota. I'm not, he might be shanking his name. But he says, this guy, he's not going to be good for the city of New York. So I've got a little bit more on this as you look into everything that he represents, especially when it comes to rent freezes, which is what he wants to do in New York. That's not going to be good for anybody, and we'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. 7:53, Joan Jones is with us. And Joan, what's coming up at 8?
Well, we'll tell you where the power is going to be shut down this weekend intentionally and why that'll happen. Also, a book ban that Democrats say they're okay with. That's coming up here at 8 o'clock.
What is it, the Bible?
No.
Sorry.
No, it's not. It's well, they did ban God from the convention,
they did.
Right?
Yes, they did.
Okay. That's all coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.